Sister Sky Show we on. Yes, we are. Today's guest is Tomo Nogi. Tomo Nogi, yes. Podcast we on.
I once did that voice at a stand-up show, and I got a complaint from the audience. He said Yoda's voice is too high; it has to be lower.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
lower voice.
Well, let's have a listen. I'm gonna just search Yoda.
I thought Yoda's voice is quite high.
Yeah, he hasn't developed much on his on his throat. Yoda voice. Let me see.
20, 30 years of Star Wars still sounds the same. Hasn't hit puberty yet.
Yeah, is the voice actor all the time same all the time? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. But Yoda's meant to be what, 1,000 years old or something?
Yeah, 500.
Yoda's my favorite character.
Yeah, it seems to me. Yeah, you're doing all right. His voice is deep.
Maybe if you're trying to do Chewbacca, maybe then you gotta get the. I don't even know how to do that one. Something about Yoda. I just can't get enough of that character. I think that's why people like Baby Yoda so much.
I think the way he talks too, it's
yeah.
That you do very well too. You change, you adjust the grammar. He uses very well.
Well, I showed you where it came from, right? Where I got the voice in the beginning, right?
No.
No? Okay. So the original, it wasn't doing Yoda. Originally, I was doing Louis Armstrong.
And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
And I was like, oh, wait, that's the same as Yoda.
It's not, though. It's really not.
Yeah, it's very sort of, it's very close. It's kind of like a trombone.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see. Yeah. All you gotta do is just add. Nice additional thing. Yeah. Add on.
What was the third thing that you said you wanted to do in the podcast? What was that thing? You mentioned there was a thing. We never got around to it.
Talking about. Oh yeah. This is it. So this is gonna be it's not gonna be a fun topic, by the way. It's gonna be kind of heavy topic actually. Not that heavy. Not that. It's mildly heavy. So on the way back from my when I arrived to airport in Japan, my friends picked me up. My friends from high school, they picked me up, and we drove down to my home. And one of them, suddenly, out of the blue, he just started saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, I hate Korean people." Just sudden come back. No, like come out.
Spontaneous racism.
We're like,
just by the way, just so you know.
Just so you know, I hate Korean people. His hatred was very pure and aggressive. Like he was like, "Oh fuck, I hate Korean people." It's like one of these, like American movies back in like colonial period. Like I hate black people, something like that. It just needs guys just replace with Japanese face. So, all right, shit. Shit. Fuck.
Did he give a reason or no reason? Nope, just that's how he is.
And he's very reasonable guy in general. And the driver, the guy, my friend, another friend was like, "Hey, dude, what's going on? Like, why do you say that?" He goes, "Oh, their government and the people hate Japan and they do shit, and I just don't like them."
So not a good reason, really.
He doesn't seem to be a reasonable guy at all. And I'm like, then I don't know, this rage from my, like, I got really angry about it.
Oh yeah.
I became unreasonable. So generally, I would say like, "Oh hey, like not everyone's like that." My friends, a Korean friend I know, they are good. But doesn't mean if I say, oh, Korean people are good, then that's also not correct. You know, as much it's not accurate. It's as inaccurate as saying, oh, all the Korean people are bad. The
You
opposite
can't
way
win.
is also not. Yeah. So I think the middle way is the right one. Like, oh, it's just people, right? I should have stopped there, but I go really sarcastic after that. But it might be a bit difficult for you to understand something like that tone. Just like I get really,
Suddenly angry at a whole race of people for
Yeah.
no obvious
Yeah.
reason.
I mean, he has his reasons that he thinks he has, and it's just shit. And I think I could have handled it much better without being sarcastic, without being angry. You know what I mean? Like,
You got angry on behalf of Korean people.
yeah, they're not my people.
You got angry on behalf of a race that's not you.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of shocking because it's like my buddies and shit. So like, oh man, I don't think he was joking. The another guy, he goes like, "Oh, by the way, I hate Chinese people," and then we are just laughing because it was just like on top. Like we're like, fuck off. And then it ended. We are good after that, but like, I don't know.
In one of the things where you have like someone just says something, I hate this thing. Well, at least you were kind of in private.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's say it wasn't in private.
Yeah.
Do you feel an obligation? Do you feel an obligation to defend the Korean people?
I felt obligation to dismiss the racism and squash it. That's the wrong way to feel it too, because it's weird. One, it's not my responsibility at all. But two, I don't want him to. I just don't want to hear the noise as well coming. Like, I don't have to listen, but at the same time, I don't have to tolerate it too, right? You
don't really want to listen to a guy be racist.
Yeah, I don't want him to shut him up. I don't want him. I want him to shut up, but at the same time, it would be good if he changes his mind for the world. But do I feel obligation? Yeah, weirdly enough. I felt it somehow.
It's almost impossible to reason someone out of being racist. It's very difficult to do that.
I think so. I think at the same time, it's very easy to. All he has to do is get a girlfriend from Korea, and then he would change.
Yeah, but that's not a logic argument, though. That's a very different. Like if you try it, like racism isn't really based on a logical. This is why they're bad because they have this and they have this, and I have evidence to prove backed up by these examples. It's not usually like that. It's like, I hate this because they're this. They're all like that.
Generally that, but I think you have to be careful on that too, because some people are having that idea based on their personal experience. Like my grandma, she has some difficulty towards Chinese people because she did her husband, my grandpa, did some business in China, and they had really terrible time. Partially because of their business sense, because they are not that good. But I can also see how she would conceptualize that experience into something racism. For example, if Jewish people say, "Oh, I hate German people," you can it's wrong, but also you can see how that happens, right?
Yeah, I've never actually heard that side of the argument.
Well, it's obvious. I'm kidding. But,
I've never really heard of that side. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, do Jews hate German people? Do black people hate white people?
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
no, but at that time, now I don't know what happened to them. Like at that time, like, when they are at the war, you know what I mean? It's so you can't always generalize the general list. It's hard.
Interesting is that racism seems to be there no matter what culture you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
Any culture seems to have their own.
Yeah,
I
they have
dislike
their own.
something about some other group of people. It seems to be part of just being human.
Yeah, people antagonize something all the time, right?
It's not all people, but there always seems to be, no matter what culture you go into, there seems to be some form of racism within
for
that.
sure. It's funny thing. It's strangely universal.
Racism is quite universal.
The funny thing, the racism is very diverse. The content of racism is very diverse.
Yeah, it seems
but
and we find different things to be racist about in each generation too. It changes. Racism adapts a little bit.
Yeah, I think what makes it bad racism is that what makes the racism bad really is that shutting off. Like that guy in that car, my friend, he absolutely had no room for discussion. He was like, "Oh no, this is it. That's that. I'm not gonna be friends with them, and I'm just done with it."
Yeah,
it's not fun,
it bores me. Change the topic quickly.
Yeah. One, we change the topic. Two, we bully him. That's the two ways to deal with it. But it's kind of sad, like I don't know. I think
I remember I was reading a book. It was talking about racism. Actually, it mentioned like there might be a biological reason for racism.
Sure. For example, Avatar, the Navi people, the blue people, they are so fucking racist too, right? Because they have to accept blue-looking people, not the white people. They're fucking racist.
Well, they're aliens, right?
We are aliens. They are aliens.
Oh, that's right. We're the aliens. They're the natives. That's right.
Yeah, these natives are fucking racist. They don't want people who look different. So that's why we had to be in Avatar. We as humans. But
that's right. Yeah, I forgot. We're the aliens in the movie.
Yeah, these Navi people are racist.
The Navis are actually we're in the wrong the whole movie. We're the human.
These blue people. They wanted someone who looked like them, so that's why we made Avatar.
But I mean, in their defense, the humans are bad.
Are we though?
Well, we are in that movie.
Yeah, I know. So that's funny. It makes it funny, right? Because their racism
is right. It's justified.
to protect their motherland.
Yeah, they're totally justified in their racism in that movie.
Okay, so in that sense, what's the difference between my friend who hates Korean people and he thinks that he wants to protect the country versus Avatar? I think the difference is actual threat that they are facing. The actual threat the Avatar people are facing is real in fiction, which is funny. But the actual threat that he thinks in his car is facing is not that real in reality. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think this podcast should start from here. Yeah.
So, like, biologically, though, if you were a group of, let's say, nomads, so like we don't have very many of us. There's only like a tribe and we don't know too much. We don't have technology yet, whatever. We're just kind of roaming around, and we've got like animal skins, and we wear that, and we live in huts. And there's some other group of nomads And at one point or another, we distrust them because whatever reason. To avoid just to get people to avoid encountering them and just to avoid dealing with them, it might be safer to be racist just so that you don't end up with a war with them.
Sure.
Just avoid them entirely. Let's just all say they're bad and they stay away from them and they stay away from us.
Yeah, that's it, right? It really depends on how long you spend your time together. If you fuck and become husband and wife, then you spend a long time.
Yeah, how'd you be racist if you're screwing them?
Yeah, and that's why. But at the same time, if you keep breeding within the family circle, you get fucked up. So that you have to expand. So that's why I think.
Well, that's the solution in medieval times, right? We don't want to have a war with France. Let's just marry our kids together.
Yeah, that's the
racism
basic
God.
thing, right? It's a social alliance, and that becomes political when it comes to big families. But yeah, I think so. Yeah. So the racism, yeah, it's a funny thing, right? It kind of
the solution to racism is to marry them or marry your kids to them.
Yeah, you gotta hook up, man.
So if you wanna fix your guy's racism, you just gotta find a really hot Korean girl for him.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said in the beginning. Yeah. His opinion will change in 2 seconds.
Right. It's like, it's not. I was racist, but now I'm really horny.
Yeah, and then however though, that's a kind of double-edged sword. If she dumps him in a really bad way, then he'll be hardcore racist again. I hate Korean girls.
He's like that anyways. Yeah. He's no worse off. He's the same.
Yeah. But he might have a chance to change his mind.
Is it bad to be racist?
I think it narrows down your options. In that, say, business chance or the social chances, you know what I mean? It does. I don't see the benefit of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like giving yourself a handicap.
Yeah, it's a loss, essentially, because you're basically judging people's potential based on the passport. What kind of passport? What kind of book do you have? You know what I mean? It's just nonsense. Yeah,
I don't like his location.
Geographical. Yes, of course, there's some behavioral tendency as a culture for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But is that good enough to judge? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a whole country. They're not all the exact same.
Yeah. It's an element. I mean, there's an element of tendency or behavior and all that, but it's part of it. You know what I mean? It's like it's a good religion. Although, if you're a hardcore, fundamentalist, then that seems to be the portion of it is in his character. For the religious part, it seems to be bigger. That's why he's hardcore fundamentalist. The portion becomes bigger. But no one really is hardcore Korean culture practitionist. You know what I mean? It's it's different.
Do you think that racism is going to disappear? At some point, we'll just be like, okay, we're no longer going to be racist anymore. It's no longer a factor, no longer relevant.
I don't know. I think it will stay, but I think it will be less. But it is always there, I think. But I think it will be less. Say in Toronto, I mean, you don't see the protest about race anymore, right? Do you?
Well, that's what I mean, because it's so intermingled. You see racism a lot where it's divided, but once you start mixing everyone together, it's kind of hard to be racist.
Mix it up. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But especially with let's say it's YouTube or Facebook, by example. Let's say it's Reddit. Can you be racist on Reddit? You don't even know who the other guy is on the other side of the comment.
Yeah.
You could try to be racist, but does it mean anything? You don't know who they are. They don't know who you are.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Do whatever you want.
You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm just because again, my friend he hasn't met many Korean people, and he didn't have to meet any Korean people, right? And probably he doesn't not have to. He won't have to meet any Korean people in his life because he stays in Japan, and probably he doesn't need to do anything about it. But so sure, maybe racism doesn't hurt him nor help him. But in my case, I go back to Toronto and I become racist, then that's not good for me at all. Like in anything. What if I have Korean clients who pays well and I become racist and not take that job? That doesn't help. What if people talk about me being racist? Doesn't help.
It would be interesting to have this conversation with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could have had a conversation, but I just couldn't have the civil element in myself.
But it'd be interesting if we could have like this, if it were possible to have like the civil conversation with him and to have him defend it. That would be interesting. Like not even accusing him, like literally ask him.
Yeah, like why do you think?
Well, why are you racist?
Yeah, keep asking why.
Yeah,
I actually want to know. That would be a proper public execution.
We won't even frame him or anything. We won't like insult him. We literally just explain your position here.
Yeah, explain more clearly. Yeah, that's it.
Tell me why you're racist. Tell me why you're a bigot. I'd like to know. Could you please elaborate why?
Yeah, I know it's a funny thing. Yeah, it's like.
Did you ever have any like racist? Like, did your parents try to instill anything like that in you growing up?
No, they were more like anti-racism. They're open to the possibilities, but yeah, my grandma was just a bit like that. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean that's why I think I have kind of like really a difficult feeling against it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. How about your parents?
No, I think they were to a certain extent. But I think here's the twist side: is you don't know that you're racist.
Yeah,
I don't think you'd ever know that. As soon as you think you're racist, you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't think like that anymore," and then you won't.
Yeah, that I had sometimes. I mean, I had some thoughts too before. Yeah, I recognize it. Oh shit, I'm being a discriminatory shit, so I should change. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had some idea. I was being shit. So I understand the mechanism of it. Like people don't like something different. For example, where I grew up in public elementary school, all of us basically Japanese. Names are Japanese. There was one girl who came on 5th or 6th grade. Her name, she looks Japanese, but she grew up in Japan. I think she's half Japanese, half American, white, I think. And her name was not like Makoto or Tomohiko. Her name was Grace Suzuki or something. Like some
very white name.
Yeah. And I kind of teased about it. Right? Because it was something different. And when it's something different, you feel weird about it or even hateful about it without any reason. I mean, that is good enough. Something different is good enough to be racist. So I understand that. I understand completely, but I think that's shit.
But at the time, before you had the realization, you didn't know that you were being racist, right?
Yeah. And also but I knew I was doing something discriminatory. And also you will learn from it. You will learn from her reaction. She goes shit. She's feeling shit. She looks, oh fuck off. And then I feel okay. Sorry.
I'm not sure you know though most of the time. I don't think you know that you're being discriminatory. Because in your head, you always think you're the hero of your own story. You always think you're the protagonist.
Yeah.
You don't think I am discriminating against this person. I don't know if you ever think that.
But you read some kind of story too, like when you're a kid, right? You learn just bit of a story about slavery in America, like that you kind of relate to it. Oh, fuck! like, you know,
Hmm.
I don't know if everyone does or not, but at that time something connected in my head.
I don't know if I have had that thought until a lot older.
Yeah,
'Cause I remember there was probably like, especially when you're in elementary,
yeah,
you say things and do things, and you don't give a damn, and you whine and complain and throw tantrums,
yeah,
and you can be racist as much as you want, and there's no consequences because you're like, he's a kid, he doesn't know any better.
yeah.
But I wonder if that's actually so. Actually, there's just some articles they were showing, and they were saying, do kids have racism from a young age? And they were showing
Yeah.
pictures of like white people and black people, and they're like,
Mhm.
what do you? I think it was like, what do you rank as attractive or something? What do you like more? What's more trustworthy? And the results were, unfortunately, that they trusted in like the white people, white faces more than the black faces. But the strange part was that this was happening across both demographics. Like the black people were also saying the white people were more attractive and likable for some reason,
Very interesting. Yeah.
which was a little unnerving.
I wonder if it's the same in like really countryside in Africa. You know what I mean?
Yeah, surely
Or
not, right? You think that wouldn't
Amazon. Because in media,
be.
like in the movies that these kids see, most of the protagonists are white.
That's true.
You know, so that could be affecting. You know, I mean, we now have some black heroes, but so I guess you have to go like really countryside like to do it, like in the jungle, like show them pictures.
Yeah, if you've never seen a white guy before, surely that would be not a
Yeah,
good thing from your perspective. Like, who?
yeah.
What? That doesn't look like me. It must be bad.
And even if, let's say, even all the race has reached a consensus of white people being visually being perceived as something good, and let's say, all right, fine, that kind of visual racism is programmed in our mind. But I would still argue that that does not mean it is helpful to be racist, to be successful, or to live in our life as a society. Like it's just not helpful in anything.
Well, I guess it's one of those things like, why do we tend to like people who are attractive more than unattractive people? It's like it's not really a logical reason, is it?
I guess it kind of goes to like a trust thing, right? Like you look something similar, and then
No, I don't mean similar. I just mean attractive people in general. We tend to like them and want to be with them more than unattractive people.
right. Okay, so I think that is also I'm not blaming media, but media is part of it, right? And most of the models, again, the movies, even in Japan, the advertisement we see are white or white oriented makeup or stuff like that, right? Which is fine, no problem. So I think that would really it's like it's a cycle, right? Man, the more white people get popular, then more people try to go for that way or that direction in terms of how they dress up, how they speak, how they look, how they even match up the skin tone. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just think that's the tendency to it.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's a fashion. It's okay. But I still think that being racist is not helping.
I wonder if there's if there's like a reason why we trust attractive people more than unattractive people. Like even of the same gender.
Right.
Like
Okay.
why would I trust a guy who's attractive more than an ugly guy? Like it doesn't seem obvious to me why that would be. Maybe we can logic it out.
Okay, fine. So I think there are many reasons, but one, if you're attractive, you become more, you have higher chances to success, right? I guess. In that, let me elaborate on that. So if you are good looking, you attract more people, and therefore
more
you
of the
have some
opposite sex.
advantages. Yeah, or from both. But I think that is already the core to your question. So why is that? I think if you, it's kind of a circle already, right? So if you are successful, you have more chances to be successful. If you're good looking, you have more chances to be successful. If you're more successful, you have more chances to be exposed in media, and therefore chosen to the characters in the movies, or chosen to be the newscaster, or chosen to be a politician. Although most of the politicians are ugly, but at the same time,
but we don't trust those people as much. Like, that guy's ugly. Don't trust that dude.
But the model, richness, success, or trust, or these advertisements, or the visual model, they use someone who looks good, and its tendency keeps changing from time to time. But okay, so they become more successful, or they become richer, and then they produce more kids who look good, and then, I don't know, maybe something like that. I'm not saying all of it, but
I'm trying to think, like, if you were like a bunch of monkeys running around, why would you trust the attractive monkey of the same gender?
I don't know. Maybe that guy looks more, that good looking would imply more of competency, right? Maybe he knows what he's doing, or he would attract more people. Therefore, I will be in the winner's side than the uglier guy.
Well, it means it means they're healthy, and it means they have more nutrition in general.
Yeah, and therefore they are biologically more stable, and also might be attracting more physical force, like more numbers.
They have access to resources.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a sucking up kind of thing. It's like, I should be with that because that guy has resources.
And I hope he's good.
He's good. He has to be good because he looks good. Therefore, he has to be confident.
I think it's a hope, right? You hope he's good. Then,
Yeah. Well, if this guy looks terrible. Like, I don't trust that guy. That guy's desperate.
He doesn't look like he's winning.
He looks like losing.
He looks like he wants to win, versus he looks like he's winning already.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
I guess that goes to confidence too, right? Like generally good-looking people are more confident with, subconsciously. And uglier people who recognize that would be less confident.
That's right. We trust confident people, even though there's might be fake, but we tend to trust more confident people than unconfident people.
That would give a sense of security that we talked about before.
Yeah, I guess biologically that makes sense too. You want to be around the guy who seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be around the monkey who's scared. Like, I don't know what's going on. That's not good.
So if that's the core of it, then, the confidence that the ugly people project is also attractive, right? Like,
that's why he knows what he's doing. He's ugly, but he knows what he's doing.
Adolf Hitler, he's ugly as fuck, but he's confident.
He's very confident,
right? But his confidence would attract people.
Yeah, that's why it's attractive, because he seems to know what's going on.
Old wise king or chieftain in the village, but with confidence or knowledge or wisdom, is kind of attractive. I don't know if it's sexy or not, but it's
sexier than the alternative.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. You compare, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That might be the thing. I don't know at all. But if you take white guy and black guy who grew up similar, would who would look more confident if you line them up? I don't know. Because of the history, because of discrimination, would white guy look more comfortable with where he is versus I don't know if black guy is scared all the time, but that might be ingrained into his upbringing. You know why? Because Felix told me this. Whenever he goes to the store, he will look at CCTV, or he would subconsciously pay attention not to get caught. Like, in Canada, in Toronto, right? Wouldn't that put him some burden on his shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, that guy's really the least likely to need to do that.
Exactly. But even though he is, he does it. So imagine.
Yeah. Well, actually, I look. I think it's just subconscious. As soon as you see a reflection of yourself, you're like, oh, I want to look at that. I don't think that's even Felix. I think everyone feels like that. As soon as you see a video of yourself, you want to check that out.
Yeah.
Or like a mirror.
Yeah.
I remember they were doing some examples of just shoplifting decrease when you put a video feed in, even if there's no tape. Like they're not recording. You just happen to have the camera showing your face on the screen. They're like, yeah, of course that reduces shoplifting. Or you put a mirror, and that does it too. Just as soon as you see yourself, you don't want to commit crimes. It feels like someone's watching you, right?
For sure, yeah. And imagine you are being black, you're born black, and you hear all the newses and people misunderstanding. People actually misunderstand you, and as you grow up, and yeah, I guess you'll be a bit more tense, no? From the subconscious level to the conscious level. Yeah. But it's funny that Asian people don't really have anything to say much on their in this demographic all the time. It's always black and white.
Black and white. Where's the yellow? Where's the? Well, the problem is there's so many kinds of Asians. It's not like one place.
It's right? The other. It's the other section. Black and white, the other.
Well, you're gonna lump all Asians together. We got what? Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, Korean. What am I missing here? I'm missing something. But that whatever. That's already like. Are they all the same? Are they all Asian? I guess so.
I guess something similar is happening in Africa too. But the funnier thing is that I would address myself Japanese. I wouldn't say Asian to myself unless I'm joking about it. But Felix, he calls himself African, which is a funny thing to say. It's a continent. It's not a country. It's a fucking continent. You know what I mean? Like it's a big ass continent.
A lot of types of people in there.
Yeah, for sure. And I heard like somewhere like north is less darker than the east, something like that. I heard something like that before. There has to be a difference.
Which part is he from?
Ghana.
I don't know what that is.
It's like west side.
I don't know. See, maybe that's the problem. Is these people like, I'm from this part, and people are like, where? Africa. Oh, I know where that is.
But I can kind of see how he doesn't recognize between Chinese and Japanese. Although he kind of does, but some people from Africa wouldn't be able to recognize the shit in Orient. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's kind of similar to me not being able to recognize Russian people and Polish people. It's a bit difficult for me.
No, I have no idea. Polish, Ukrainian, Russian. I can't distinguish.
Even the French accent and the Russian accent, it's a bit difficult for me to distinguish.
I can do that one because we had to learn French growing up, so I can pick the difference up there.
No, like language, yes, but like accent, French accent with English and Russian accent with English. You know what I mean? It's It's a bit different. Is it that different? Are they that different in those accents?
No, it depends. Like for me, I grew up with a few people who spoke Russian, so I kind of got used to that.
Oh, I see what you're
But
saying.
if you didn't know any French or Russian people, then yeah, you probably can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, it's offensive. I don't think it's offensive at all. But when it comes to like, oh, I don't recognize Japanese and Chinese people, that seems to be perceived as something offensive.
Mm.
I don't think so. I don't think that it's.
Do you think there's any benefit to speaking like more than one language, like in like 1,000 years?
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like extra thing, right?
Like it seems to be an unnecessary burden.
It's unnecessary. Again, like it's an extra thing. Like if you know how to read old Egyptian, that's cool. That's about it, right?
What's the point? Like you can speak Latin. Why?
if you can decipher the old text of One Punch Man, that would be cool. It's just like a scholar thing. It's like some nerdy aspect to it.
You think in 1,000 years we'll still have Chinese and French and English and Russian? You think that's still going to be a thing? We're like, no.
But it's like old literature. Like if you can read Shakespeare in English, that's good. That's cool. That's convenient. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you think there's new languages being made, or do you think we're slowly converging?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it keeps changing, right? The language keeps changing.
Yeah. You think there's new languages?
Japanese we speak now is so different from Japanese we spoke a while ago, like before the war.
Really?
Because we keep having things coming from, overseas and keeps merging in, right? So language changes. Although I don't know about English, because English is already so different depending on who speaks, right? It's merged in the Singapore, it's merged in.
Is it?
Like, yeah. They mix up all the time, right? I guess.
I don't know. As soon as someone says they speak English, I assume I know how to talk to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Any kind of English. I don't feel like there's dialects of English.
But if you search dialects in English, then you will know.
Let's see. Let's look that up. Is there dialects of English?
Like
dialects
search Welsh
of
English. It's so different.
There are multiple types. Scottish. I guess Scottish is a little different.
It kind of merges with Gaelic words, no? I guess.
Hong Kong English? What the hell is that? Hong Kong English?
Yeah, you haven't done good search yet. I think you should dig in more.
It sounds like it's just you go to another country and they just put some words together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Of course, it's still English, so most of the words they use is the same, but dialect means that it's a bit.
Yeah, but it's not as extreme as like Cantonese and Mandarin.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess English is a funny way. Yeah, that's why I think English is like being well successful. I think.
Well, right now we got like still the British influence, but that could like wade away. But I guess we have the American influence still.
For sure, because I think many countries study from like American textbook, American English. I think.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the direction. Then it's either got to be becoming more English or becoming more Mandarin. And really, you have to go one of those two, just in terms of population.
Yeah. And it seems like people who speak Mandarin knows how to speak English. More people who speak Mandarin know English versus people who speak English know less of Mandarin. It seems like.
Yeah. So do you think it'll be like in 500, like 1,000 years, everyone just speaks English and that's it? We don't need all these other languages.
Or maybe both of them, Mandarin and English.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. But like, there won't be Japanese. That'll be gone.
Yeah, it'll be gone. Yeah. I don't mind. I mean, that'll be left over as a textbook, like like a comic, like old literature. That's it. In the like old digital archive. That's it.
Yeah.
It will be archived, and it'll be nothing in like 2 million years later.
Maybe it's like a programming language where they just have to keep coming up with new ones. Like we think that we're gonna get one and it'll be good forever, but then they invent a new one. Like it won't even be English and Chinese. It'll be like some new
Like,
version. Yeah, like what you said. It used to be Shakespearean, and now it's this.
Yeah, I think it keeps changing. I don't know if they're gonna make a new one because they did try that with Esperanto, right? It's like a common language, but they didn't really do it because no one really did. No one. I don't think anyone really wanted to learn something new.
There's no reason.
But English, they kind of grew up with it, and Mandarin, some people grew up with it. So it might be merged in more,
Hmm.
and that might be something different eventually.
Well, at a certain point, we're not going to need to have. Do you think we'll still have countries? Like, you think that'll still be a thing? Or we're like, we don't need that. Why
What
do
do
we
you
have
mean?
these countries? What's the point of that?
Oh, countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, really, why do we need countries?
I think we did. Oh, also, with this, we talked about it before too. Actually, country.
Why do we need countries? Get rid of it.
As of this moment, if we get rid of it, I think we should get rid of all the one altogether.
Well, yeah, if we get rid of countries, then how are you going to have racism? I'm racist against what? They don't have a country anymore. It's the same country as me. It's only one country.
It's funny though, because the racism means race, and it's not a countryism, right? It's like racism.
No, racism is pretty country specific.
Is
Otherwise, you're like, this guy's darker than me. That's all you got. You don't know. You gotta refer to a country to be racist.
How do you explain the racism in the States? It's the same country, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But different race.
That's right.
Yeah. Which is sad, really sad. But I mean, so that's what I'm saying. It happens. Any difference would be good enough to be racist or discriminatory. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. You are left-handed. I'm right-handed. Good enough. I'm gonna chop off your hand. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's hard because you can't see that just from appearance. You have to actually watch him for a while. That's too much effort.
Exactly, man.
Like being racist for people's actual thoughts takes time. But being racist that guy looks like something, it's easy to be racist.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder what that idea is like if you get rid of countries. Like we just merge them all. We just let the Google algorithm handle all this stuff.
So one thing my friend told me was that when you get rid of countries, right now Canada is, for example, your subsidies that you have from the government might be lost because of unless there's a constitution that every country has agreed that the law and constitution that you have in Canada will be respected as it is now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that would be that would change. Or okay, fine, you keep as things are right now. No more boundaries. So what's gonna happen if many people from around the world, because Canada's system is good, people can get paid after you lose the job, right? So what if bunch of Japanese, bunch of Chinese, bunch of American people come in? Can Canadian government still function without border? Because it's just now it's like a state.
Mm-hmm.
You can go in there anytime you want. How does that? So that's the argument of the border, or also like
from the Canadian perspective, I suppose it seems like it's bad but from like a fairness perspective,
Mm.
like if people are actually equal,
Yeah.
then it shouldn't make a difference because like the guy outside the country is the same as the guy inside the country in terms of value.
Mhm.
So why should that guy outside the country not have, right? It's like, I
Exactly.
guess it depends on what do you value? Is a human life valuable or not?
Of course, it is valuable, and I think that's. I mean, of course, I respect Canadian system. That's good. I think that's good. I think the
It's based on scarcity though.
Sure, but what is protecting the system right now in Canada?
Scarcity.
Sorry?
Scarcity.
What?
Scarcity. We have lots of resources and very few people.
Sure.
Therefore, the few people benefit a lot.
Exactly. And that is kind of protected by well-regulated immigration policy on the border, right? At the moment.
Yeah, to keep the scarcity, to keep it the way it is. Yeah.
So now when the border is off, when the idea of countries are gone, so the idea of countries is gone, then what's going to protect the scarcity?
Well, that's what I mean. Arguably what Canada is doing is unfair because we're not sharing all the benefit that we have. We have this huge pile of gold and we're like, no, we're keeping this. You can't come touch it.
Well, but she is letting people in selectively, right? Carefully.
Yeah, we're only selecting people who we think benefit us as well, though.
For sure, so that you can sustain the thing.
Yeah. Like they're not bringing in homeless people.
Yeah. So, but that is also protecting people too, right? It's not only killing people, but protecting. So, I don't know. I like the idea of no countries for sure. But I don't know how to. I didn't know about it before too. Until my friend told me this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to balance this out.
Well, logistically, it would be a nightmare. But like from I guess it's one of those things. Like it sounds like a socialistic idea now. Everybody shares the same stuff, and then you're like, well, then no one has a reason to work for it. It's one of those problems, I guess.
I don't know. You have to go that extreme too. But let's say there's no countries, but like there's like one unified constitution that would tell us, okay, you gotta respect each region's policy and migration. But that is already a country. that would make the region a country. You know what I mean? I'm not even mentioning the difficulty to have consensus in like on this planet. It's so hard already, but I don't know. I think the best way, after my friend told me, the best way is you sure protect your country, but not end there. Expand your wealth. Expand it. Expand your help to other countries. That might be the way.
I got a way to make this more complicated.
Go ahead.
So I saw the movie Cloud Atlas. Have you seen that?
I've seen it, yeah.
Do you remember the futuristic world with the Asian girl?
It's a Korea, yeah. Speaking of Korean, by the way, it's a Korean.
Yeah.
It's a country, Korea, yeah.
So she's a clone, right? And there's a whole bunch of clones.
They eat each other, yeah.
And they serve you, and then when after a while they get killed, and you get to eat them.
Yeah.
Like if cloning becomes a thing, does a clone have value?
I don't know, how are they being used?
Does it matter if it's a clone? Does it matter how you treat it? I just make another one. Who cares what it is like? Who cares what their life is like? I can just create them.
Okay, so at that point, I mean, you can always make another baby, right? Like, what's the value to the baby?
I think a baby's a little different though than a clone.
Is it because the originality of it?
Let's put ethics aside. Like even just a clone feels like something you can, if it dies, you can build another identical one. So like it's like copying and pasting. Like it doesn't really feel the same way as there's no randomness, you know? It's like I have no care for my computer program. I don't care what happens to it. If I delete it, if I copy it.
Yeah. But is your sperm always different? Like, like your sperm is sperm, no? Your egg, her egg is always an egg.
Well,
sure.
If you could make a kid and it only took like a minute.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
So you could inject the sperm in the egg and it gets a full grown adult in a minute. Whoop, you stick it in the microwave, out comes a human.
Yeah.
Does that still have value? It feels like it has less value somehow.
Less, but still, right? If it has even a 0.1 value, then I think it should be same with the clone too.
But is a clone any different than a robot? Like, we don't care if your car breaks down. Who cares? Isn't a clone the same thing?
But it's a bit. I think we can go into that just because I don't know. So that I think we are trying to make a similar argument between clones and machines just because we can, make the same kid again.
It's
right?
The same thing, isn't it?
Same thing again. So that would sound like more like a mechanical thing. In that sense, I wouldn't say they are different. But
like, let's say we cloned you right now.
But if they are not different, then what's the difference between clones and babies?
What's the difference between a clone and baby?
And then what's the difference between babies and machines? Because we are basically making it, Okay, so if we value babies, should we value clones?
Maybe the argument is stop valuing babies.
Yeah, but we don't do that. Why is that? Because I don't know why, right?
Well, you can put on protection and then it's the same thing. But people don't seem to think that.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time you use contraception, you essentially said, we're killing a kid.
Yeah, it's a mass genocide to your sperms.
But you're only killing one at a time.
No, sperms are like 10 million or something, right?
Yeah, but you were never going to have 10 million kids, though. You would have a maximum of one, maybe twins.
Well, maximum is, I think, 7.
Yeah, but that's usually artificial.
Which is really, I think...
that's not usual.
That's very highly unusual. Okay, so if you have 7 kids at the same time, do they have more value because they're highly unusual? No. You know what I mean? That's probably it. Like, does 2 twins have less value than...
Well, what do you think of the idea of manipulating DNA of kids? Of like when they're in the pregnancy stage, you can change the DNA slightly to make them no longer have allergies, or so that they'll have stronger muscles or have a chin closer to Brad Pitt or whatever. What do you think of that? Because that's almost doable.
Before I answer that, my auntie's calling me for like 2 minutes, so I'm going to just answer her, okay? Just give me a minute.